All right, so Noel, Xavier, Albin, Danilo, and Jimmy Landaverde from the Carpenters, gentlemen. And then again, I have Jay Frazier and Brian Barton. And that's it for in person, unless I hear from staff about someone else. Thank you. Welcome. Oh, okay.
Good afternoon, Chairs Cutler and Jelen and members of the committee. Thank you for allowing me to address you today on H 1868, an act to prevent wage theft, promote employer accountability, enhance public enforcement. My name is Noel Xavier. I'm the Director of Organizing for the North Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters. We represent more than 34,000 working families in New England and New York. We are regional affiliates of the United Brotherhood of Carpenters, a union with more than 500,000 carpenters across the United States and Canada. We are in full support of this compromise legislation. It is important to note that the bill before you has gone through a very deliberate and exhaustive process with stakeholders and was refiled as a compromise legislation for this session. Combating wage theft and tax fraud in the construction industry is the #1 issue for our union across the country. That's because it has such a prolific and detrimental impact on workers and honest business owners. Think about it. Each day you get up, train your skill set, work hard building our communities, and then have your wages taken from you. For contractors trying to build and maintain a successful business, how is this fair when those that you're competing against misclassify their workers or simply just don't pay them? Wage theft is a tool of exploitation, coercion. It is used to cut corners and drop contractors' bottom lines. The savings achieved on many of these projects come directly from the pockets of the people who do the work, but don't get paid. In the construction industry, we see general contractors hire multiple layers of subcontractors who supply, manage, and pay workers. All too often, the pay is in cash with no taxes withheld or any protections funded. The reality of large parts of our industry is that general contractors use layers of subcontractors to hide from accountability and gain as much as a 30% bidding advantage. The only true soft cost in the construction bidding process comes from the cost of the workforce. No general contractor can in good faith hide behind these low numbers and claim ignorance about how they can achieve such advantageous pricing. Honest contractors cannot compete with those who cheat. Across Massachusetts, workers are being exploited while concerns of our communities are ignored. The municipalities, many municipalities have acted on their own accord, like Lynn, Somerville, Framingham, Northampton, or just a few communities showing true leadership on this issue. Unfortunately, these measures cannot be fully realized until this legislation passes. We need statewide solution. Our neighbors in New York have recently passed legislation like H 1868. Rhode Island has taken a hardline stance, making wage theft a felony. Numerous other states have passed strong wage theft laws, with some sending violators to prison for stealing from their workers. Massachusetts has traditionally been a leader in many of these issues throughout our history, but in this regard, we are falling behind. A construction industry riddled with exploitation is not an attractive career option for young people. A construction industry without a regular influx of good candidates cannot continue to support Massachusetts business and its overall economy. The multiplier effect of spending on infrastructure is well established and understood. Building bridges, roads, offices, schools, and hospitals generates economic activity. A couple of the greatest examples that we can point to right here in town are the Big Dig and the Seaport.
Okay.
We must do more to protect the hardest working, most vulnerable people in Massachusetts. A hard day's work for a hard day's pay. That's what H 1868 is about. I urge you to send a message to workers that you understand and that you stand by them by helping pass this bill out of committee favorably and bringing to the full floor on a vote on this.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to introduce you a couple of our carpenters that have gone through wage theft recently, and they're going to tell you their story of just that situation that has recently happened to them. This is Jimmy Landaverde. Jimmy.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, and thank you for...
Can you just move the microphone over? Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Jimmy Landaverde, and I want to share my history with you of how I've been a victim of wedges, thief, while working a carpenter on a project on Somerville, Massachusetts. I got a job opportunity on November 2022 to do concrete on apartment building that was have been remodeled, specifically repatching concrete and exterior balcony. The contractor needed more help. He asked me if I can find some more people to work and more workers. The contractor pay us all in cash, and he will give me the money to distribute the wages a month to the crew. I could play of the weekly in a range of the specific, how do you say that? Specialist concrete mixer necessary for the concrete to cool adequately in colder temperature. When we warned to the contractor the concrete could be cracked without the mix, he told us, no, don't worry, because they will be done before the concrete start cracking. Some morning the balcony were froze over, but we were instructed to the purge to the concrete over the ice, which you are never supposed to do it. Safety was another concern. We were higher up to the balcony with no harness and minimal railing when the brown it. The contractor says safety gear was in the budget. When we grabbed it up to the initial phase, it means December, we were not paying for the last week of the work when proceed to contractor for our wages. He keep giving us excuse after before Christmas. I told him I was going to talk to a lawyer. His response to me was that we did have any right because we are all illegal. Then it's not true. I'm not illegal, and I feel responsible for the other guys or for the other workers with me. So I talked to a loan from a check cashier company to pay everyone. I reached out to some of the carpenter union, and they were able to help me to recover the money that was owing. This situation put a lot of stress on me, on my family. I'm in a little bad situation. All this, they called me my Christmas, and I put my daughter on with a poker because the guys had taken to the job. He went to in December, knocking my door and start screaming, "Where's my money? Where's my money? You told us to go work. Where's my money? If you don't pay us, you're gonna be in trouble." And they called the police to me. And then I ran to a guy to ask for the money. And this guy, he gave me the money. But all this, I'm almost on divorce because my wife, she got mad to me. I asked for money to pay all those guys, and this guy put me in a really bad situation. Even with my daughter, she was scared because the people is screaming right in the front of my house. And ella está con un psicólogo, I don't know, with this poker. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Thank you for sharing that. We appreciate that. I'm sure that's not easy. No, that's all right. We appreciate that.
Allow me to introduce you Danilo. He also has a story of wage theft that just recently happened to him within a couple of months. He's going to read a statement that he put together in Spanish. I'll read the English version.
Very well. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, estimados miembros del Comité Legislativo. Mi nombre es Danilo Mendoza y hoy les quiero compartir mi historia, no solo en mi nombre, sino como representante de los innumerables trabajadores que enfrentamos explotación y robo de salario. A mediados de junio del 2023 comencé a trabajar en un proyecto ubicado en 105 Washington Street, Brighton, para un contratista de drywall. Mi rol era instalar paneles de drywall. La persona que me contrató para este trabajo fue Herbert Lemus, conocido entre sus conocidos como Águila. Todos los días dedicaba mis horas desde las 7 de la mañana hasta las 4:30 de la tarde, esforzándome por completar las unidades de apartamentos de la mejor manera posible. A pesar de las largas horas, se me prometió un pago fijo de $200 por día. De lunes a viernes, algunos días salíamos a las 5 o 5:30 de la tarde para terminar las unidades, pero mi salario permanecía igual. Sin embargo, esta rutina no tardó mucho tiempo. A finales de la tercera semana, Herbert me informó inesperadamente durante el fin de semana que ya no necesitaba mis servicios, citando una desaceleración en el trabajo. Sin embargo, cuando yo pregunté sobre mi pago de la semana anterior, en lugar de darme una respuesta directa, exigió copia de ambos lados de mi permiso de trabajo y seguro social. Esto inmediatamente me hizo sospechar de él. Antes de acceder a su solicitud, consulté a un amigo que trabajaba permanentemente para Herbert. Para mi sorpresa, me avisó que Herbert era conocido como vendedor de ilícitos de documentos personales. Confronté a Herbert sobre esta repentina necesidad de información después de semanas de pago sin tal requisitos. Él afirmó que era para legitimar. Sin embargo, cuando propuse llenar un formulario W9 para mantener esta llamada legitimidad, evadió el tema, prometiéndome revisarlo más tarde, y nunca lo hizo. Hasta el día de hoy, mis llamadas hacia él se dirigen directamente al buzón, una señal clara de que me ha bloqueado. Las preocupaciones de esta experiencia fueron más allá de los salarios no pagados. El dinero que se me debía era esencialmente para pagar mi alquiler de $2,300 para junio. En la tercera semana de julio yo recibí una notificación amenazándome con desalojarme si no liquidaba los pagos atrasados. Después desesperado por mantener un techo sobre la cabeza de mi familia, mi esposa y mis 3 hijos, me vi obligado a pedir dinero prestado a amigos y familiares. Lamentablemente esto no fue un incidente aislado para mí. He sufrido dificultades similares en otros proyectos y con otros contratistas, y no estoy solo en esto. Cada colega que conozco que trabaja en la construcción tiene historias similares de explotación. Sin embargo, a menudo nos encontramos pasando a otro trabajo esperando que no vuelva a pasar lo mismo. Espero sinceramente que mi historia ilumine la dura realidad de la que muchos nosotros en la industria de la construcción nos enfrentamos a diario. Gracias por su tiempo.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, esteemed members of the Legislative Committee. My name is Albin Danilo, and today I share with you my story, not just on my behalf, but on representation of the countless workers who face exploitation and wage theft daily. In mid-June 2023, I began working on a project located at 105 Washington Street in Brighton for a drywall contractor. I was installing drywall, The person who had recruited me for the job was Herbert Lemos, known amongst his acquaintances as Eagle. Every day I dedicated from 7 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon, striving to complete the apartments that we were working in at the best of my ability. I was promised a fixed payment of $200 per day, and I worked every day from Monday to Friday. Some days we had to work till 5 or 5:30 to finish the units, and we were working in, but would only still earn the same fixed amount. However, this routine was short-lived. By the end of the third week, without any warning explanation, Herbert informed me over the weekend that there was no more work for me. I was puzzled and asked why, and his response was that things were slowing down. At this point, my primary concern was to be compensated for the work that I had done. When I asked him about the payment for the last week of work, instead of providing a straightforward response, he demanded a copy of both sides of my social and work permit. This raised suspicions in my mind. Before complying with this request, I sought advice from one of my friends, someone who had previously worked with Herbert. My friend cautioned me that Herbert was known for illicitly selling personal documents to other workers. When I confronted Herbert about the sudden interest in my personal documentation, after having paid me without any such requirements before, he claimed he wanted to operate things legitimately, and that's why. Yet, when I offered to fill out the official documentation, like a W-9 form, to make things legitimate, he evaded me and promised to get back to me, and he never did. Instead, my calls just went unanswered. To this day, they go directly to voicemail. That's a sign that my number's blocked and he has blocked me. The aftermath of this didn't just end with unpaid wages. The missing payment meant that I wasn't able to pay my $2,300 rent for the month of June. 3 weeks into July, I received a letter saying if I didn't pay, I was going to get evicted. I found myself in the humbling position to have to borrow money from my friends and family to make ends meet and to ensure a roof over the heads of my wife and 3 children. Unfortunately, this wasn't the first time I've experienced such injustice. I've been through similar ordeals on other projects with other labor brokers. I am not alone in this. Every friend I know working in construction sector has similar stories of exploitation. We just move on to the next job, hoping it doesn't happen again. I hope this story sheds light on the reality that me and many other workers face. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Great. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your stories. Appreciate that. Any questions?
I'll just finish with the...
No? I'm sorry?
I just want to conclude with that this is something that happens every day out in the construction industry. From my side of things, I can bring anybody on a large, non-union, open shop construction project, and we'll find somebody that has gone through wage theft or is currently going through some sort of wage theft. This is commonplace, and I do urge all of you, please, today to help pass this bill.
I appreciate it. All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate that. Next up, we have Jay Frazier.
Question.
Just make sure you use your microphone, Senator. No, there you go. Oh, there you go.
For Mr. Landaverde, we've heard a lot of terrible testimony today, or good testimony about terrible things, but I want to say that I am particularly interested in your case because I represent Somerville, and I want to know more about that case. Somerville has a wage theft ordinance, and I want to know how that worked, and I want to know how inspectional services dealt with the concrete. So if you could talk to, I don't have my card, but I don't think you probably know how to find me. I would like to find out more about that situation. Thank you.
Thank you.